Birth by Sleep. Cool, so the character of Aqua won the bid war, so we're going to do an Aqua beginner run. Get into the game. Timer starts when I select the character, so I will go and I will load this up and then we will get the run going. Alright, cool. Alright, so I will start in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, cool. Right, so we get flung straight into a kind of tutorial fight. This is orbs. I'm going to try and do a combo on the first orbs and knock them into each other. Whenever you knock orbs into each other, they automatically die. But this segment's pretty random a lot of the time, and your party members are kind of the worst part of it. So I'm going to leave them alone to deal with that one. I didn't mean to use that move, but whatever. That's kind of bad, but whatever. Then I'm going to use a Bubble Blast here to try and deal as much damage as I can. Then this one I'm going to have to hit with Blizzard. Then there's 2 that spawn back here, which will knock into each other with a Quick Blitz. Thunder these guys. I tried to use Finish on them though. Okay. This was going well, and then this one orb decided to not be okay. That was pretty bad. But that's fine, don't worry about it. Right, cool. So, that was a tutorial fight. We got a bunch of cutscenes. So at this point in the story, all the characters are leaving Land of Departure. Right. So the first world we're going to is Castle of Dreams. And there's one segment which is kind of annoying, but overall this world's pretty fast paced. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to diverge from the path to go over here. There's a chest I want to grab over here which has a feeding crystal in it. Basically, the thing in the bottom left-hand corner is called the command deck. We fill it with commands, and then later on, when our commands are leveled up, we can meld them together to make stronger ones. The crystal I just picked up is called a feeding crystal, and what it does is it gives me the ability of magic haste whenever I meld 2 magic commands together. So I'm going to use that to make commands that, in turn, refresh my abilities much faster. So what I just did there was I went into a D-Link in the air. Whenever you go into a D-Link in the air, the game has to drop you down to the floor to activate the D-Link. And basically it's just a way to get down to the floor faster. So what I'm going to do next is actually kind of another cool thing. So there's another chest I've got to pick up here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on this ledge Quick Blitz, then pause. So I need to do this menu anyway, but the reason why I paused where I did is because if you pause at the right time during any command and bring up the main menu screen where you can edit your deck and things, the game actually resets your character back to neutral so you can do anything instantly. So I just use that to cut the recovery frames of the Quick Blitz that I use for movement short, so then I don't have to worry about dealing with the recovery of it. And then I can pick up the chest almost instantly. Cool, so now just moving on to the next bit. Right, cool. So, we're going to talk to the fairy godmother here. And then we're going to get straight into the Jacques escort. So Jacques has about 5 different paths that he can take. Some of them spawning enemies, some of them not. Ideally you want him to not spawn enemies, but you want to kill a few enemies for a bit of EXP and money. So let's see what he's going to do. Oh, really? Oh no, not again. So yeah, that's called Spawn the Shark, which is actually pretty much the best RNG that you could hope for. But it might be a bit tight on money and EXP a bit later, so I might pick up a little bit of extra just to be on the safe side. And then we go straight into the first boss fight, which is with Curse Coach. So Curse Coach, I'm basically going to build up to my first command style, which is Spellweaver, and I'm going to use that to basically stun the boss and basically do all the damage I can. I'm going to use that Blizzard, I'm going to Barrier Search through him, hit Thunder, then hopefully he does an attack cycle that I can do something about. That's actually really good. I'm fine with that attack. He hits you there, then he doesn't move, and then he gets stunned. So there's the stun. And we're going to smack him again. Hit him once, and use the finisher. And hopefully he attacks me. No, he's not. He's going to go back to suck. I'm going to move away from him for a second. Blizzard. I'm just going to try and finish him off now pretty quickly. Go around the back of him so I don't get the chance of getting sucked into him. Blizzard him. Apparently he just ate the blizzard. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to do, but I'll take it. That was pretty weird. I hit him out of his spin attack using Barrier Surge, which isn't something you see often. Alright, cool. So that was Curse Coach. So that was Castle of Dreams. It's a pretty quick first world, actually. Then straight after that, we're going to go into Dwarf Woodlands. I'm probably going to pick up a bit of extra EXP here because I got Spawnless, just to make sure I have enough EXP and money. Because whenever you get Spawnless, you miss out on just some money drops and EXP from Jacques itself, from the enemies in Jacques, so I'm going to make it up a little bit here. So I'm going to go into this world. Right, so I'm going to go over here and pick up a chest. The first chest to pick up here is Poison. I mostly pick it up for selling, but we actually use it in the boss fight here because he's actually affected by poison. So we use it to basically do damage over time to him. It's a dot effect move. So the enemies I'm going to kill is actually at the back here by that chest, which I need to pick up. Do that. I've got the high potion. Do that. Cool. So now we get to do a little bit of a sequence break. So there's a chest that there's a chest over here that you're meant to only grab once that you have high jump. But if you kind of wedge yourself between the wall and the bush, you can grab the ledge there and use that to just get over. Then I can grab the Fission Pyroga chest, which is a very, very useful chest. Poison, Fission. Cool. And I'm gonna go around here. Then here's another Fleeting Crystal chest that I need. Pick that up. Cool, so now I'm going to go straight to the boss of this world now. Go down there. Cool. So I'm just going to do another D-Link drop in a second here, just to get down to the floor a bit faster, but also I need to use the slide dash. I'm going to hover over Terra, and whenever you jump, it does it faster than if you just like roll off the ledge. That's mainly because whenever you like just fall off ledges, there is an animation that you have to sit through, which takes about half a second to play out before you can do anything. So I try and avoid that like animation altogether. Right, so this is the magic mirror. Basically, after every 7 hits, he will fall over, and then he does 1 of 4 attacks. Basically, I'm just looking for a good cycle of attacks here. It's pretty random which one he goes for, but you can deal with every single one of his attacks, apart from 1, really. So I'm going to do here, and basically I'm just going to try and make sure I've got poison on him for whatever he does. That's actually perfectly fine. Good, that's actually a good set of attacks. So if I time this right and aim myself right, I can go... Oh, I missed it. Rip. You can hit him with your Blizzard like while he's moving around that, and it hits him out of this move. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go... and then just try and do as much damage as I can to him before he does anything. Poison him again. I'm actually going to try and kill him. Ah, it didn't work, but whatever. I have to wait for him to do another attack now. It's fine. There he is. So when he does this corridor move, it's always the one that's smiling, which is that guy there. I nearly messed that up completely there, but whatever. Alright, cool. Alright, so that was the magic mirror. And now that's the end of that world. We get to... We now get to go to the Enchanted Dominion, and this is kind of where the run kind of picks up a bit, and we start getting to build our deck, which we use for basically the rest of the run. And then, yeah, cool. Right, so I'm going to go up here. So you probably noticed that I've been cartwheeling everywhere. Cartwheeling in this game is the fastest form of movement, but I'm not mashing out the cartwheels. I'm actually doing a cartwheel, then taking a step, then doing another cartwheel. So I'm spacing out the inputs to get little steps in between, because you actually go a little bit further every time you do it. So I'm basically using that to save marginal amounts of time in each of the rooms that I'm going through, but it makes up over the course of a run over just mashing it. And also when you mash it, you drop inputs more, so it's a little bit like worse to mash it. I'm gonna make sure I get this right. Oh, I'm actually finding money. Buy 4 of them. 1 of them. This is an example of don't say yes to doing all these categories at once, because my menu is off my head now. That's fine. Alright, cool. I've got that. We're actually going to do a bit of movement tech now. So whenever you're dropping down from a jump and you lock onto an enemy, you can actually attack and your attack will carry you up. Oh, get up there. Thank you, Aqua. Your attack will carry you up there. I got kind of lucky there because you don't always ledge grab and sometimes you get shot by the archers behind you. I got very lucky there actually, in all honesty. Alright, cool. So this is the first Goons fight. So we have Philip with us. Party members in this game are kind of useful, but also not. When party members get kills on enemies, the killing blow, they actually steal all the EXP and the command points, the CP that I'll refer to it as, from them. So you don't get any EXP, basically, from the enemy kill. They take it from you. I'm going to wait in the middle here for a second, do that. Kill them. And I'm going to just go. Do that, and there's that goon back there, which is going to die in a couple of hits. There we go. That was a pretty decent fight. Alright, cool. Right, I'm quite far away from the next level, so I'm going to have to pick up some enemy kills at some point, because I'm pretty low on EXP, but that's fine, I can deal with that. I'm going to prepare Fission Firaga for the start of the second Goons fight, which is out here. Basically, I need to use it just on the first two, just to try and get the ball rolling a little bit. Basically, there are archers everywhere as well in this fight, but you don't have to kill them to proceed with the fight. You just have to kill the ones that come down to the ground. So I'm basically trying to control the fight so I only have to go to 3 different places at once, rather than having to worry about going around and killing everything. So the first 2 enemies are in front of me, which I'm going to go at. So it's these 2. I'm going to lock on, hit, fire, do that. I have to do that now. Do the hit, then the thunder. Then that guy's going to come at me. Then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, that guy was... Those guys going to spawn in. I'm going to do that. So those guys. Then Philip's going to go over here and I have a reaction command with him. I'll probably refer to these as RCs if I ever have to do them. I'll do that. Then I'm actually going to do another attack prize here. Where I'm going to jump at this wall. Use the enemy to get up there. Rather than going all the way around, I just take kind of a short route to it. Okay, cool. Magnet those guys, move over here. Hopefully they'll get sucked into me. They did, cool. I'm just going to go over here, magnet these guys. These 2 are the only 2 that are up top that you have to take care of. I'm going to wait for them to jump down, basically. This is kind of a bit jank now. Oh, okay. Like I didn't die at the right time, but whatever. And they should all die from that. Cool. Right. There's another cool little trick I'm going to go for here, actually. I'm actually going to shoot the cog that we have to hit to move on from out of bounds. Jump lock on, and if your keyblade goes through a wall when the command goes off, the command actually spawns out of bounds and proceeds to wherever you need to go, instead of hitting the wall. So that's just a good way of making sure that you get all your stuff out. Make sure I remember my stuff correctly. Magnet, magnet. Oh god. High jump, cool. Right, cool. So now I have to pick up a bit of EXP on the way to the next boss fight, which is with Dragon Maleficent to hit level 4. Just so I do decent damage against her. Otherwise my damage is really, really low. Level 4 gives me a magic increase, which ups my magic stat. Basically, stats in this game are very, very, very important. I really can't stress how important stats are. Basically, like, stats are what allow us to hit the damage floors of particular things. Most KH games actually scale their damage, like, well, some of the older ones scale their damage based on your level compared to the enemy's level. This one doesn't do that. This one basically looks at your stat and compares it to the battle level. And if it's good, it's fine. If it's not, it's not. I need to kill these birds and I should hit the right level. Cool, I hit level 4. I'm a little bit worried there because I was a little bit short when I got spawners before. Cool, so we're going into Dragon Mao now. So Dragon Mao is very much a kind of cycle-based fight, but she has like 4 or 5 different sets of cycles that she can give you. Basically her AI is always set to go into something that we call flight, where she flies away. But basically we're just hoping she gives us a good pattern where she doesn't fly too early. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a normal fight because she's flaming there. If she flames there, you're basically going to get a normal fight and she is going to fly at some point. So we just have to deal with that. Oh, Magna. I'm basically just going to sit behind her butt and do all the damage. Cool, she's flaming already, which means she's going to fly really early, which is kind of good, but kind of not good. And I'm going to get this Spell Weaver in to get some damage off, and then she will fly. I'm just going to get that off as well. I'm actually going to let my command gauge fall. Basically, there's a soft lock that can happen in this boss fight if you let your command gauge get too high and you go into a command style while she's from this reaction command. Basically, the game has to drop you to the floor in order to do the reaction the command style thing. So if you're in the air and you're trying to land on her, it doesn't always work. So yeah, I was that was me avoiding a soft lock. In my own runs, I would probably just YOLO and go for it. I'm not doing that in a marathon run. I'm actually going to do that to avoid her attack. That. There we go. I was kind of a poor fight, but she gave me a really bad pattern there. Not what I could have done about that. Alright, cool. And I managed to avoid the soft lock. I'm not usually paying attention to the soft lock. And if it happens, I'm just like, oh well, reset, but I usually just go for it, but well, not go for the soft lock, but I just go for the full YOLO. Right, cool. So now we get to go to Radiant Garden. So we're going to go to Radiant Garden for about a minute, and then we're going to leave and go back to Castle of Dreams. Basically, this entire route is actually this entire route is based around getting to a high level and then basically blazing through the rest of the game. Cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into Snow White. So what Snow White has is a move called Grumpy. And Grumpy's Treasure Raid. So Treasure Raid will actually basically try and force a drop from an enemy. Cool, there it is. And that's an Abounding Crystal. Abounding Crystals are actually really, really, really rare when you play this game normally. But basically Treasure Raid forces the drop from the enemies. So now we've done that. We're going to go up here and grab the Mickey fight. We call it Mickey fight because Mickey's here. I don't know what the actual room, I don't remember what the actual room is called half the time, but some people call it the fight by the door. I call it Mickey fight because Mickey's with us. So this fight, we're basically going to try and get as much EXP and CP as we can without Mickey kind of bodying us. Go to the middle here. Do that. Fire that. How much health has it got? It's fine. Magnet that. Oh, okay, Mikey. Please don't do this to me. Arrow that. Then these guys are going to come towards me. Fire them. Arrow them. That was actually not a bad fight at all. So the entire point there is I was using Magnet to try and keep the enemies away from Mickey, because Mickey's actually really, really strong. And Mickey will steal all the EXP from you. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my Keyblade to a more powerful one, which is Destiny's Embrace, which is the one I just got from that fight. Put that together to make EXP Walker. So EXP Walker is basically instrumental to beating this run really, really fast. So what EXP Walker does is every single time I take a step or anything that the game considers a step, which goes from anything from attacking to jumping to using commands. Basically, whenever my feet leave the ground and come back, or one foot leaves the ground and come back, it'll give me a bit of EXP. So basically, I'm going to use that to try and gain as much EXP as I possibly can. Right, so I picked up Ice Barrage now. We're going to sell that Ice Barrage because we no longer need it. We're going to buy 6 of these because we need all the fires. We'll put them on. Right, cool. Now comes the fun bit. So, the fun part of this is now I need to get a D-Link drop from... 2 D-Link drops really, really fast. So the first one I want to get basically straight away, then the second one I can wait a little bit, but not too much. So this is the part of this run where time can really start to bleed. We're going to Mickey. Okay, bad RNG right now. Please, game, give me good drop luck. Okay, this is pretty bad right now. Okay, cool, I got one. Let me go back over here. Cool, I got it. Right, cool. So, that's my first drop I needed. Now, I'm going to move on to the next room that I'm going to do some grinding in. So basically, I want to get Mickey up because Mickey's second D-Link level actually has double EXP. And double EXP basically just makes this go from like a 10-minute grind to like a 5-minute one. So, I'm going to use that to get through this as fast as I can. Oh, yo, both drops really, really quickly. And a fleeting crystal. So while I'm doing this, I'm also looking for drops as well of specific things. I'm looking for a couple of fleetings and a shimmering crystal. So what the fleetings will give me is more haste, but then what the shimmering will give me is a fire boost. The fire boost is needed for a tiny bit of extra damage. There's my shimmering, which is very good. I just want one more fleeting. There, actually, no, that's not right at all. It's fine. Cool. Right, so now I need to do some melding. So I'm going to meld my fires together to make some fires. I'm going to use one with a fleeting. I'm going to just make my deck with this. So basically I'm going to make a couple of fire argers and just go ham with the game. Cool. And also I want a level of Terror as well, because Terror's level 2 actually gives us a two sliding dashes. It's just useful for movement later on in the run. So we're just going to use that. There we go. And also, whenever I'm like in Mickey, I'm trying to move around as much as possible to get as much XP as I can out of the XP Walker while I've got Mickey active. And I'm spinning around while I am waiting for Aqua to pick up the D-Link, the little blue D-Link crystals. Cool. So basically, I want to get to like level 16 before leaving, because then I'm basically set for the rest of the run to get to the level that I need to get to. Cool. I'm getting all the shimmerings, dude. So, I can talk about drops actually. So recently we actually kind of looked into more about how drops work in this game. So basically drops in this game are kind of weird. So basically every enemy has like a base drop chance. What level am I? Yeah, 1 more. So basically every enemy has like a base drop chance. But basically every time you beat a world, the shop level goes up, and what enemies drop at that shop level changes. And basically, whenever you kill an enemy, they have a base drop chance of a certain percentage, and then they have a few items that they can drop that each have their own kind of percentage chance as well. So the little red enemies, the red hot chilies, they have like a 12% drop rate to drop something, but then when they choose to drop something, they have a 20% chance to then give you a shimmering crystal. So basically, we're going to use that to where am I? Fire. Get up there. Magnet. Cool. Right. Cool. Alright. Cool. What was that? Oh yeah, drops. So yeah, basically, yeah. Basically, enemies have a base drop rate, but they have a few things that they can drop, and it depends on the shop level. And as I said, the shop level is dependent on where you are in the game. Enemies actually sometimes get some better drops towards the end of the game than they do right at the start. So sometimes you you can get the drop rate, but you just get the wrong item from the enemy. So that's something that we are aware of throughout most of these runs. So yeah, so that's the end of grinding. We don't need to do any more in this run. We get everything given to us for the rest of it. So now we get to actually play the game again now. So that was actually a fairly solid grind actually. Basically the only issue with that was I didn't get my crystals in an optimal order, which means I'm gonna have to do an extra menu to make some of the later fights a little bit easier. But it shouldn't. It's not. It's like nothing too bad. So yeah, I just have to do an extra menu. It loses like 4 seconds. So. Right, so this is the boss fight with Trinity Armor. We have Ven and Terra with us, but they are pretty much not needed for this, so I'm going to just build up my Firestorm finisher, and then use it, and yeah, watch his HP bar just absolutely get demolished. It's pretty hot. Yep, that was 2 parts, so this boss is actually a 3 HP bar boss. I just kind of destroyed 2 parts of it really fast. And this part should die pretty quickly as well. Oh, okay, Aqua. Thank you for whipping that attack. That would have been really good if she hadn't whipped the attack. Actually, I think she got a hit out of it. It doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, that's Trinity Armor. Yeah, so... being over-leveled in this game is real fun because you hit the damage, like, way above the damage floor. Which is just absolutely hilarious. Cool. So we're moving on to the next boss fight. I'm going to do a bit of Terra movement. You're going to see why I picked up the Terra dealing during the grind. Basically, just having 2 extra slide dashes that you can use at any point without having to equip them into the command deck is actually very useful. So I'm going to abuse that here, but I'm also going to abuse the drop-down mechanic of D-Links to get to the floor a bit faster. So I'm going to go hover over Terra, jump, drop, slide dash into him. And basically, whenever I slide dash, I'm trying to hit an enemy. Basically, slide dash, because it's a combo move, it actually cancels all the animations when you hit an enemy with it. Because if you hit an enemy and then, like, are stuck in lag, it wouldn't be that good of an attack. So basically, we use that to try and move around places. But if you don't hit an enemy, you lose a second. It's not like it matters too much. So this is Vanitas. Yeah, he's affected by magnet, so we're just going to put him in a magnet and just kind of go ham on him. I'm going to do that, then I'm going to Mind Square, then I'm going to do that. Basically, I'm trying to build up to Blade Charge, which is a finisher I just got from beating Trinity Armor, and it does stuff like this. There we go, so that's how we beat some Vanitas. You just catch him in a magnet and just kind of go ham on him and he can't do anything. Absolutely helpless. Alright, cool. Alright, so next we're going to Disney Town, and unfortunately Disney Town is a 3-minute minigame that I have to sit through and play. So if you have anything you want to talk about on your side, Pika, then feel free to go ahead.
Well, indeed, actually, I did actually wanted to talk. So I think right now is a perfect opportunity to remind everyone that BSG at Home is benefiting Mind, which is a nationwide organization committed to prevent mental health issues and to support everyone who has dealt with mental issues themselves or within their family. So one of the ways Mind actually supports is by bringing awareness about mental health issues. And to do that, one of the things they do is by providing classes at school to inform youth on the topic and through other social media campaigns targeting youth to encourage them to be more open about mental health issues, which is obviously very important to do because talking about such things is one of the most important things to do in order to make mental health a much more open topic. So definitely, all your donations are amazing, so thank you so much for helping us reach over 2,000 euros so far for Mind. And my question is, can we reach 2,200 euros within, let's say, the next couple hours? That would be amazing if we could, don't you think? Let's go!
I'm just playing my minigame. I just have to hit through into the opposite goal. And the enemy AI is pretty bad, TBH. Cool. So I'm going to get the 15 points, and I'm going to put the controller down because they don't usually get past like 10. So I'm going to get 2 more points, and I'm going to put the controller down. And normally they don't win. I'm going to take a quick drink. Cool. So the further you get into this mini game, more kind of nets appear in the middle to bounce things back around. But basically, yeah, the enemy just kind of randomly kick stuff around and never really get anywhere with it. So this is a nice point to have just a little handbrake. A couple of drinks. It's sad that this is just mandatory to complete the game. Every single character has a mini game that they have to go through. This just happens to be the longest one. It's a little bit better in the critical category because you do this right before you do the boss rush, right at the end of the run. So you have your intense run, you have a 3-minute break, and then you have the intense end game. So.
Well, that's the perfect time to remember everyone, do stay hydrated.
Of course. Oh look, they got the 13 points. Oh my god, I might need to actually play for a couple of points just to make sure it doesn't go to... just to make sure it doesn't go to sudden death. Because if the timer goes to 0 when you're both on the same amount of points, it goes to sudden death and the first team to score wins. Make sure that that doesn't happen. Because if you lose that, you got to play all 3 minutes of it again. Right. Cool, so the next one we're going to is Olympus Coliseum. Before I go into the world, I'm going to do a quick menu. The reason why I'm going to do the quick menu is because our drops for our abilities weren't in an optimal order. So I'm just going to put that fire archer on, move it up there. Then we're going to go in there. Right, so we get dropped straight into a forced fight with Hercules. Hercules is like the worst partner in the entire game. He is pretty much useless. He'll just kind of run into enemies and knock them away. So we're just going to magnet stuff so he doesn't do that. And fire those guys a couple of times. Do that with them. Catch these guys in the magnet. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Right. That's that item gone, but whatever. I want to make sure I have this magnet in the middle here. And hopefully those slugs will come up out the ground and just get caught in everything. There we go. That worked out in the end. So I was trying to make sure that everything on the final wave just spawned in and died instantly. Basically, when you kill a few enemies in the wave before that, the final wave will just spawn in afterwards. So I was trying to make sure that the enemies all died at the right time. Right, so next we go to 10 rounds. So this is 10 timed fights that we have to go through. Basically, each one has a kind of a, not really a strict time limit, but a time limit, and we're just going to go through these as optimally as we can. I didn't mean to do that at all. I went the wrong way on the command deck, but it's fine. Actually, no, I'm fine, actually. Cool. Right. So now I'm in Spell Weaver. I'm basically trying to get up to Blade Charge, because Blade Charge is actually slightly faster for a couple of the rounds. I'm in Blade Charge now. Also, I hit level 18, which is another magic increase, so now my magic attacks will do even more of the damage. Cool, that's that wave dealt with. Right, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Did I get a kill drop? I did! Hype. Right. So, the best part about this run now is we're at the point in optimization where we've taken out buying items like cure or potions or things for the end game, and we just rely on enemy drops to make sure that we have the right amount. Getting a cure drop is actually very, very nice because it means you don't have to worry about your amount of high potions because you have a cure. So that's what I'm going to be using for the final fight. It's just that regular cure. Alright. There's this one wave. So round 10 is always a fight with a bunch of jelly shades, which are these little J enemies. Basically, they're not all spawned in at once. They all have 1 HP, so they all die to the initial hit of Magnet. And then just go to middle of these guys, kill them off. Cool. That was a pretty good 10 rounds. Right, cool. So now what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to leave OC and save the boss fights for a little bit later. Because basically, the whole reason we came to OC is to grab that level 18. Basically, we want to do that so the damage drop-off coming into deep space isn't actually that bad. Otherwise, the damage drop-off we have is actually quite noticeable. And it is kind of annoying. And also, we need the magnets for this, but we don't need them for the rest of OC. So it's useful to come here and do this now. And then once we're done with this, we'll go back and fight all the bosses again. Oh, okay. That was silly. I feel like I can put the ground at the right point. Thank you. And one. Thank you. That died. It took way too long because my level 19 was late there. Usually you get level 19 about halfway through that fight, or from the XP Walker, but I didn't get it at the right time, which is fine. I only loses like a second. Right, cool. So now we're going to do a bit more terror movement in this room here, just to get around the circular room a bit faster, and then we get on to everyone's favourite part of this run, which is the bike mini game. Or that's what we in the speedrun community call it, or it's otherwise known as Gotcha Take That, because in the English version, that's what Aqua says over and over and over again. So basically, there's going to be a wave of, I think they're called wave gliders, if I remember off the top of my head, of my enemy names. Basically, there's a wave of wave gliders, and we have to kill them on what I like to call the Keyblade bike. So yeah, we're going to go basically sit kind of near a wall, not really too far near a wall, but just kind of go over here and go ham on these guys. Trying to kill them before they knock me out of my moves, like that exactly, because that's really annoying. Right. Gotcha, take that, gotcha, take that, gotcha, take that. Basically, they all kind of move around in random directions, and they decide randomly if they're going to become aggressive and come at you. Basically, there's a specific number of these guys that can, like, spawn in. There's a spawn that can happen right at the end, which is kind of completely random. But I'm not sure exactly what can cause it, but it is annoying and it does lose you time. Also, these guys are being really mean right now. They're not doing anything. Yeah, there's the annoying spawn that happens right at the end. So hopefully this guy comes at me. Nope, he didn't. Hopefully this guy's the last spawn. Yeah, he was the last spawn. Right, cool. So that was Gotcha Take That. That's kind of a poor example of a Gotcha Take That, but that fight is kind of random how fast it can go. It is pretty much just a reactionary fight. Right, so now I have to kill the enemies in this room because I have to use the teleporter in the middle, and you can't use reaction command things while there's enemies everywhere. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Just gonna do that, and then the teleporter will let me use it. Cool. So I'm going to prepare the Mind Square to be used right at the start of the next fight. So this is Stitch Fight, or what I like to call the Stitch Fight, because we have Stitch with us. So as you can see, I'm very creative with the names of my splits and stuff. So Stitch is kind of helpful. He's actually pretty strong. His gun's actually fairly good. I'm going to just kill these enemies here. Go Stitch, go. Grab that. Grab. Use that. That's actually kind of good. No, that was pretty good. Alright, cool. So that's in that fight. Now we're actually going to sell the magnets that we've been using this whole run to buy some more fires, basically. I'm going to sell both of them. I'm going to sell that. Thundara. I'm going to see if I can do something cool, actually. What can I buy? Can I buy 3 of them? No, I can't. I was going to see if I could buy 3 of them, because then I can skip a chest later on. But I don't have enough money to do it. Right, so I sold the magnets because I no longer need them, because there are no more enemy fights in the entire game. So now it's only boss fights we have left now. Oh nice, I got level 20 early. Which means I'm going to do decent damage to Gantu there. My voice cracked pretty badly there. Of course, I'm going to go into Terra here. Mostly for the slide dash across this room, because just kind of floating over there is really, really slow. So I don't want to do that. So yeah, this is not a fight where we have Stitch. Basically, Gantu's kind of a brick wall that can eat our damage. So basically, we're just going to throw attacks at him, and hopefully everything goes well. So I can hear Stitch shooting in the background. Stitch does a lot of damage to Gantu as well. Cool, I have got my thing now. Do that. Fire. Fire. Cool, that was Gantu. So the whole idea is Stitch actually helps out a lot with damage there, but basically you want to just do 2 cycles of fission, mind square, and then some fires and attacks. So another good reason to come to Deep Space straight after 10 rounds before the boss fight actually is that Keyblade right there, Hyperdrive. So the Keyblade Hyperdrive has 1 more strength than Destiny's Embrace, but has the same magic stat. So we're going to use that to get through the next 2 fights. So the first fight here is with Zack, and basically we're just going to kind of try and stun lock Zack to stop him from doing anything. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot my Fission Fire Arga, cartwheel over to him, place down the Mind Square, and I'm going to Fire Arga him into the individual minds of the Mind Square. And then I'm going to try and stun him again with that, and then go in with my attacks. That was a pretty good attack fight. Alright, cool. So now straight after that fight, if I can talk correctly, we go straight into a fight with Hades and the Ice Colossus. So these are 2 bosses that are kind of, you have to beat them both to beat the fight. Basically, Hades has got a DM, a desperation move that he can go for. He's kind of the first instance of it in this run. Basically, he has a move where he can kind of go invincible and spin around with fire, and it's pretty bad to deal with. So basically, we want to try and avoid that. Cool, they're actually in the right place. Oh, that was an amazing fight. Killing them both at the same time like that is actually insane. That was such a good fight. So that's kind of what you want. You want him to go to that back left-hand corner. He can travel to any 4 of the corners, and by hitting him at the start, he kind of like changes his AI. And sometimes he'll go in a different direction, sometimes he won't. But he went in the right direction that time to make that fight worth it. That was a pretty good Hades fight. Cool, so now we get to go to Neverland. Neverland actually is it's kind of a not really much of a world. Basically, we're just going to go around in a big circle back to this room here, because it's kind of like a scavenger hunt that Peter's taking the Lost Boys on. So I'm going to do put those 2 on. Put both my ignites on because I need them for the boss. Because basically the next boss fight is Vanitas again, but he's not affected by as much as he was before. In the first time we fight him, he's affected by like Magnet, Zero Grav, Sleep, Poison, and all this other stuff. This next one is only affected by Ignite and Poison. Obviously we sold a Poison and it's not really cost effective to get another one, and Ignite actually stuns him better than Poison does. So we're going to use the Ignites to do so. So cool, I've got to go through this room here. So the next room coming up, actually, when I was selling stuff in Deep Space to try and buy another Fire Arga, it's so I could take the bottom route in this room here. Basically, the bottom route is about 8 seconds faster than taking the top route if you can get enough money to buy a Fire Arga. Oh god. If not, you have to go up here and grab this chest, which has a Fire Arga in it. And you lose about 8 seconds for doing it, but that's fine. Come up here. And then I'm going to go into Terra because I need to use both my side dashes to get through here. Making sure I'm nowhere near the floor so I don't lock onto him. And there we go, we're in this room now. Oh, we're nearly done with go in circle because plot. Right, so the next fight with Vanitas is actually kind of scary. I'm basically just going to go ham on him and pray that everything works out. Because I have to kind of just use commands on him. And Vanitas has kind of a lovely habit of just deciding to go no to whatever you decide to do to him. Oh, we actually got hit by that, which is fine. And he got hit by that. Oh my god. And ignite. Go around him. Ignite. Fire-Raga. Fire-Raga. So I'm just going to try and eat damage, try and make sure that I... I'm going to just try and dodge him when he's doing this move and make sure I can get a couple of free ignites on him. And get that ignite on him. Dodge him again. Place out a Mind Square because he likes to get caught in Mind Square quite a lot. And dodge behind him. That was a pretty okay fight. It's pretty good considering I didn't take the bottom path. So yeah, so that's Vanitas 2. You kind of have to just go ham on him. Usually I end that fight in red health because I'm really not paying attention to my health. I decided to kind of actually pay attention to what was going on. Right, cool. So we're actually coming up to the final world of the run actually. After we've been to this next little world, which is the Mysterious Tower, which is literally, we go through 2 rooms, watch a couple of cutscenes, and then, cool, we get to move on. And then we get to go to the final world of the run, which is the Keyblade Graveyard, which is where the final 2 bosses will occur. So I'm going to go over here, just into this world here. Cool, and I'm going to put on Aqua's most broken Keyblade, which is Pixie Petal, which has 6 in magic, which is eternally broke. There's my cure being put on. There's a couple of cutscenes where Donald and Goofy get to meet Aqua, and you forge the D-Links with Goofy and Donald. And then we get to go to Keyblade Graveyard. So I mentioned earlier about timing my dodges to move faster. Basically, in the next world, there is a room with a bunch of tornadoes in. These tornadoes house massive mobs of enemies. And once you get hit by one of them, you will get hit by all of them. But if you move optimally and in a very, very specific way, you can dodge all of the tornadoes. Because basically only one of them can chase you at any one time. So basically we kind of bait tornadoes into chasing us one at a time. So hopefully I get my movement around. I'm going to kind of stay quiet here for a second or I will mess this up. 1. There's 2. There's 3. So you want to kind of go a little bit close to them, but not so close that you go into them. There we go. That's how you dodge your tornadoes. There's a path which you can take, which is 1 second faster, but if you mess up or drop any inputs or move slightly in a slightly inoptimal line, you will get caught on that line. So I don't tend to go for the 1 second time saver. It's not exactly worth it at this point in the run. If you're comfortable with it, then go for it, but nah, it's not for me. So we skip some cutscenes, and then we get to fight Braig. So yeah, I'm going to be just kind of going ham with some fires on this guy. Oh, this is a really, really early spin. This fight's already going to be bad, so... Braig's actually a pretty scary fight, in all honesty. He can easily kill you. I'm going to try not to die. But if he hits you with that move there, where he spins around you, he will just absolutely obliterate you. I'm going to use that much better. I'm going to just go ham with some fires while he's doing this. And then I'm going to go around here. Shoot a fire. So this is his desperation move. If you get good enough pattern on Braig, you can skip this. But it's not exactly consistent, so I'm just going to kind of go ham. That was really silly, the end of that fight. Right, cool. So now we're coming up on the final fight. So time will be at the end of the next fight. I will call it at the right time. So this is the fight with Vanitas, we like to call it. It's Ven being controlled by Vanitas. So basically I'm going to launch a Fission Fire-Raga and just do that. Oh, okay, and I'm going to basically try and stick by the Mind Squares I placed down because I want him to run into them. So I'm just going to try and go ham with my fires. And he's going to dash into me probably. And I'm just going to go ham with more fires. Place down that one. This is really weird. He hasn't done his dive attack yet. I'm going to stick by these just to try and stay as far away as possible. Oh, that was time. That was a really good fight. So yeah, that was time.
Wow, GG.
I'm surprised I got a sub 50 with that. That was actually not the cleanest of runs. Right, so so that was Birth by Sleep Aqua Beginner. Thank you for voting for this one out of the 3 characters. But yeah, just before we go, just a quick shout out to Pestilist, to Sonic, to Marvin, who runs this category a lot, to all the BBS guys and all the KH guys. Yeah, thanks for all the good work you do. If you want to learn this game, we have tutorials and notes on speedrun.com and in the Discord. You can join the Discord as well. But other than that, I am done. Thank you for having me for the last 3 days. But yeah, feel free to cut me off whenever.
Well, actually, right before we actually cut off, we actually got a donation right at the end while you were doing the final boss. So I will read it. It's actually a 6-star donation from the amazing, the one and only Tiny Tim, saying, "Hey y'all, donating for the amazing Rebel Dragon and the Kingdom Hearts run. Also, we don't want PK getting bored. Cheers." Well, Tiny Tim, first off, I wasn't bored at all because this Kingdom Hearts was really fun to enjoy, so I want to say also thank you so much, Rebel Dragon, for your run. And thank you, Tiny Tim, for your donation. Really, thank you so much.
Tim is just the nicest guy.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So, up next, right after a short intermission, we'll be having Super Mario 3D Land special ending. So definitely look forward to that and get hyped. So